How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Polish president Duda. I cannot pronounce his full name, but I will place his picture and his name on the screen before you. He signed into law a bill that would prosecute people who imply that Poland was behind the Holocaust. Because there's been a lot of things said. President Obama came on television and said this.
Before one trip across enemy lines, resistance fighters told him that Jews were being murdered on a massive scale and smuggled him into the Warsaw Ghetto and a Polish death camp to see for himself.
And there have been other people, there have been other nations that have said the same thing about Poland, talking about, oh, these are Polish death camps, you know, Auschwitz, Birkenau, Treblinka. These were not Polish death camps, okay? They may have happened to be in current day Poland, but in the period of time that the camps existed, they were under German control, and the camps were created and operated by the German Nazi government. That's just what that was. So to say that it's a Polish death camp is just totally inaccurate, and it's really defamation and slander. Now, people have said that the law, you know, it may just prosecute you if you question their role in it, but there have been exceptions made, or there will be exceptions made for research, for art. And in my opinion, and from what I've been able to read so far, the bill is not really supposed to be against just your average regular normie like yourself and myself. It's to ambassadors, presidents of other nations that are basically trying to say that Poland is responsible. So they're trying to gain political favor. They're trying to gain social favor or whatever it is. Maybe even they're trying to extract money out of Poland to say, hey, you guys are responsible. You were complicit, this, that, and the third. The reality is that Poland and her people were victims of the Holocaust. They were victims of the German Nazi government. That's just what that was. Let's go back to World War II. Let's talk about what really was going on. Now, as you all know, or at least you should know, Poland was occupied by Germany during the war. Now, some would say, oh, well, Poland and Germany, before Poland was invaded by Germany, they collaborated to dismantle Czechoslovakia or whatever. But that's really aside from the point. The point is that Poland as a country was overtaken by the Germans. Now, whether that was because the Polish government wanted it, which was not the case, or whatever the case may be, the people of the actual country are now under German rule. They're under Nazi rule. So the Germans, what did? They set up so-called work camps and also death camps all over Europe, wherever they were able to occupy or have any kind of collaboration, mostly through occupation. And they set up the actual death camps. I think all of them were in Poland. Like I said, Auschwitz, Birkenau, Treblinka, to name just a few. And I'll place a map of these camps on the screen before you. You can see how this is just one big Germany. Poland at this point did not really exist as a country. Technically it did, but really it didn't because it was under German rule. So these camps were here, and that's that. Now, some say that there were Polish collaborators with the German Nazi government in the Holocaust, and that's why this bill is bad, because it rewrites history, it whitewashes history. But let me ask you this. Do you know that if you assisted any Jews in Poland, then you would be killed? Your whole family would be killed? So some people say, oh, well, some Polish people, they helped the German government. Well, was it because they wanted to, or was it because they had to? Maybe there were some people who helped the Germans because they wanted to, but I think the majority of people that helped the German government who were Polish people, ethnic Poles, they did it because they had no other choice. Because imagine yourself, you are a man, you have two small daughters. One is 3 years old, one is a baby, an infant, like 9 months old. And then the German, the Stasi or whatever, they step to you and say, hey, look, you have two choices. Choice number one, you come with us to this work camp and you help us do what we got to do, and we won't kill you or your babies. Choice two, we're going to kill you and your babies. What are you going to do? You can't say that people just chose to help the German government and there was no coercion there was no, consequence if they didn't do it. That's what that was. Let's take it back to the story of Anne Frank. Now, some would say this story could be true, it could be false. That's not really important to my point I'm trying to make right here. The point is that if the story is true, she was hiding away for like 2 years along with her family in a Gentile couple's home. I think it was in the Netherlands. Now, eventually they all get discovered by the Stasi. Anne Frank and her family get sent to various camps. At first, they get sent to Poland. So they go from the Netherlands, which is right by France. They go from there all the way to Poland and then back to Germany. See, Germany had a network of camps they would send you to. That's how that worked. So you can't just say, oh, it was a Polish camp. To say it was a Polish camp is the equivalent of saying if the Germans come over to the U.S. and then they set up German camps ran by German people and kill Americans there, that those camps are American death camps. That's not what it was, because you're implying that the Americans set up camps to kill other Americans. That's just not the case. And if you had any Americans working there, you got to ask yourself why. Was it because they were pretty much forced to do so under coercion, under threat of being killed themselves? Or was it because they just happily, gleefully wanted to? More than likely, it was the former. And back to Anne Frank. Not only did her family get discovered that was hiding away behind the bookshelf, the family that was housing them got sent away as well. According to what I've read, the man got sent to various camps, but he didn't die. He was just in work camps until the war ended. And the wife, she was sent to some kind of penitentiary, some kind of prison for like 7 months, 7 weeks, and then she was released. So luckily they didn't die. But in Poland, different story. You might not make it out with your life. So I'm not really in favor of speech laws to prevent you from saying certain things. But I think, like I said, this is not necessarily directed towards the average person. It's more about a political thing. So you can't just say, if you are Barack Obama or some other person, that Poland did this and Poland did that, because now I have grounds for defamation and it may carry a prison sentence with it. And it's more, in my opinion, of a preventative measure rather than a thing that's going to be enforced all the time. And as I close, I want to say this. Some would say that this law goes too far. Free speech should be free speech, but there are laws against denying the Holocaust all over Europe, not just in Germany. And I'll place a few of those places in the description box below in a link, and you'll be able to see. Austria, I think it's like 10 years you might get sent to prison if you deny the Holocaust there. So there are real consequences right now for saying things that are against the Holocaust, for denying the Holocaust, for having a different viewpoint of what actually happened. So I don't see this law as being that much different. But what do you think? Do you think that Poland was complicit in the Holocaust because the camps were in Poland and because some Poles may have been involved with the Holocaust on the opposite side, a negative way? If that's your case, then please present it. Please present it with factual evidence. Give me some links. Give me some more than just your word. Also, what about the Polish people who were resisting the Nazi government? The Polish government never relented to the Nazis. They never just laid down and said, okay, we give up. It was no white flag France situation going on. They constantly tried to fight back against the German government. Okay. It was never like it just laid down. Many people, just regular everyday citizens as well, they fought back. It was a whole group that was formed for the express purpose of helping their Jewish neighbors, their friends, their co-workers or whatever, to prevent them from going to the ghettos, to prevent them from going to the death camps, to prevent them from going to the so-called work camps. A lot of people lost their lives in the pursuit of trying to help each other. I think it was like, they say that 3 million Polish Jews died, but also 2 million Polish Gentiles died in the war as a result of the German Nazi occupation. I think what's happening here, as I close for this time, is a Fourth Reich popping up. And it's like history is repeating itself. You got Germany imposing certain things on Poland because, let's be clear, the EU, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But the EU is pretty much anchored by Germany. Without Germany, there is no EU. And there's already sanctions against Poland, talking about, or you're not taking enough migrants, is that, and the third. I'm thinking you're seeing some of the same elements from the German Nazi government exist now under the European Union, which is anchored by the German government. Hopefully we don't have anything repeat itself, but that's pretty much all I got to say. And whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.